One of the biggest names in transplant surgery has announced that he's stepping down as the chairman of the Royal Papworth Hospital in Cambridge. John Wallwork hit the headlines in 1984 as the surgeon behind Europe's first heart-lung transplant. 2 years later came the world's first heart-lung-liver transplant. Now aged 77, he's finally decided to take it easy. This from Mo Bakshi.
How do you sum up John Wallwork? As chairman of Royal Papworth, he liked to walk around, stop for a chat. But after 42 years at the hospital, he's stepping back, looking back at a career that saw him perform the world's first multi-organ transplant right here in Cambridge.
You've got to do your homework. You've got to work within your capacity and have something spare in case something does go wrong. You've got to remember that sometimes there are brave things to do, but there are some very brave patients who let you do things first that have never been done before, and they're the real brave ones.
And in 1986, that brave patient was Davina Thompson.
I was under 5 stone after the operation, and now I'm just over 6 stone.
Davina went on to live for another 12 years. But despite John Wallwork's confidence in the operation, her husband had doubts.
He said, "What do you reckon, Mr. Thompson?" I said, "I've got to be honest with you, I'm not so sure about this." So Davina, she was aside of me. She wrote his ball, but she had a way of putting me back in my place. And she says, "It's not to do with him. I want to go on this list."
You've got to remember, we worked out how we were going to do this. We didn't just arrive and say, well, now what are we going to do? So we worked out in what order we were going to do the operation, how we were going to take the liver, mobilise the liver first, take the heart and lungs out, put the heart and lungs in, put the liver in.
Make it sound so mundane.
Yeah, but
so
it is and it isn't. But it's the most amazing sight in the world to see a person who's alive with no heart and no liver in there, and the next day they wake up and talk to you when you put all back together again. That's a big thrill.
John Wallwork's life as a surgeon ended in 2011, but the move to the new Papworth meant he'd be back as chairman 3 years later. Now, as he leaves, is the NHS in any better shape?
So the NHS, I think as a principle, is a good system. But there comes a time when whatever you do, you can't do everything all the time for everybody. We've got an elderly population, so the demand's gone up. There's more things we can do, so the demand goes up. And people have been given expectations of almost immortality, which is not right.
His hands are immortalised in bronze, but for the hundreds of patients he saved, many will need no reminder of just how special he is.
Royal Papworth Hospital, come on down.
Mo Bakshi, BBC Look East in Cambridge.